In this video, I will be discussing the variety of themes I've seen after reading the novel All Quiet on the Western Front. After looking at the thoughts and ideas of soldiers, along with seeing many symbols throughout the entirety of the book, I've come to a conclusion that the major theme in the book is that war brings nothing but savagery out of men, and it negatively affects them mentally. For instance, a great example that shows this is the man by the name of Corporal Himmelstoss. Was a postman and a very good man who brought nothing but happiness and peace around his village. And after the war, he ended up being stubborn, and it brought out savagery in him, and then he ended up ruining morals of soldiers and incoming recruits, forcing them to do things they didn't want to, like go outside in cold weather with minimal clothing, which caused frostbites on their fingers and limbs, and which led to them even amputating it. After that, they then hated him, and he hated them, so it just completely brought savagery out of him and ruined him as a person. On top of this, the environment of war completely ruins soldiers mentally, as they are shown traumatizing things that will never leave their minds. An example that shows this is when Paul is actually laying in a crater, acting as if he is dead, so the French don't find him and kill him. While doing so, a French soldier actually jumps on top of him in the crater, and the initial thought of Paul was to kill him, so he did. He stabbed him numerous amount of times, leaving him to gargle, gasp for air. He's in much pain, he suffers, and Paul ends up being feeling really bad for him, so he gets as much supplies as he can to help him, and after many hours he ends up dying. Paul feels so much regret, and after looking into his notebook, he's super traumatized, and it won't ever leave his mind. So he expresses his thoughts to his soldiers, and they tell him that they've gone through the same thing, and it's absolutely horrible. Because of this, that just shows a great example that they are absolutely traumatized, and it brings out savagery and completely ruins their minds. The next theme that I saw was the lost generation of soldiers in the war. This is because after the war, as I said, was traumatizing, it completely ruins them, and it leaves them thinking that they're depressed and they have nothing outside of war. And a great example of this is also happened in Paul's life. When Paul was released on a leave for 4 weeks to go back to his hometown, because he would then come back after that leave. It was basically just a break from war, and after the leave, he would come back and fight on the front lines again, which is very dangerous. When he went to his hometown, he ended up seeing that the village had completely stayed the same, and that he had not very many interests in anything. And then he found out that people were selfish, didn't care about what he went through. All they wanted to know was what happened, and is he a hero? Did he do anything heroic? Nothing about his actual health himself, which is absolutely terrible. And he found that, well, why would I want to talk to these people and be around them if they're all they're going to think about? So outside of war, he literally has nothing and wants nothing to do or be a part of the village. So he ends up going back and fighting the war, and there it's horrible too. So overall, his life is just absolutely depressing, and it's draining him. And this example also qualifies for the other men that he's talked to in war that follow the same situation as him, that they have literally nothing outside of war, and that they are lost, and they have lost the lives they had before war, and cannot rejoice themselves and find themselves of what they used to be. Like Paul used to be a great man. He used to love life. He had a job, loved life within the village, had many friends, had a loving family. And after the war, all of that came to a complete end. And in this instance, many other soldiers go through the same thing. And it is a terrible, terrible situation for all of them. And that's just one of the major themes that I've